Hey everyone, welcome to Steinwede.com. Today I've got an interview with the country's leading real estate trainer, Lee Woodward. Hello mate.
Matt, how are you?
Very, very good. Thanks for spending your time catching up with me today.
This is a reverse role. I usually interview you, so very good.
It is. The reason I wanted to catch up with you is I'd like to ask you a few questions about real estate, training, and the first one I wanted to ask you is what makes a great agent, do you think?
A great agent's made out of belief. Our belief in the system they choose, the path they want to go down, but having confidence that they can get to this other end of there. I think great salespeople have vision. They can see an outcome. They're not always academically brilliant.
Yeah.
Very rare, actually. My best people that we look after now get anxiety attacks when they've got to do proposals and spell stuff.
Is that right?
But yeah, very much so. They're not great on the typing and working of stuff, but being great communicators, they get their message across.
Yeah.
But I think they can see the outcome of, okay, if I was there, I would be here. But in between there and here is this blockage of confidence.
Right.
And people search the globe looking for the right model for them of person they want to be, and they should just stop and say, how do I want to come across?
So just on that, you said a great agent has, wants to get to here and they might be here. So would you say that the vision in a great agent is far stronger than, say, their skill set, or even them worrying about their skill set at the moment and just going in a direction and getting tips from coaches and mentors and people, but following this burning passion they have to achieve what they see in their mind?
That's correct, and everyone's got to believe in something. But there is no doubt about it, people overcomplicate the process. Like, we are in the selling profession.
Yeah.
And selling is about serving others, having client care, and caring about the people you work for, and staying on track. There's a lot of coaching and life coaching goes on out there that I think complicates the process. There's too much focus on this psychology versus getting to work and getting it done.
Yeah, quite often I've seen over the years, and you would have met many of them, that there'll be a great agent that works out the back of Liverpool. They have no computer, no nothing, but they sell 20 properties a month. They're as rough and ready as they come, but they create great results. So like you're saying, do we overcomplicate the what we think needs to happen to get successful sometimes?
100%. And that person you're talking about has just worked out a couple of patterns. I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to do those numbers and get through it. Where everybody else is searching for the next greatest technology thing that will be a shortcut. And there is no shortcuts to this. And you're a good example.
Yeah.
Like, you've got your morning set, your afternoon set, you fill it with appointments and you stick to it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is going, well, what if I didn't have to do that and I could sit in front of a computer and just muck around with it? None of us can do that. Delivery is where the results are. And then, unfortunately, there's trainers that have never been in the real estate space guide people in the space.
Yes.
Now, you've got to be in the space to understand the space, because this is not a corporate business.
Yeah.
It's far from it. If I hear one more person talk about strategic vision of this and I'll be doing that and I'll give you this, what they're really saying is, I don't really know what you need to do.
Yes.
Like, we've got to get down to it, and that's why I like practical people and training where it isn't foggy. And you're right about those people in the lower price brackets. They just barge through to it and get on with it.
Yeah.
They're not looking for that shortcut.
Well, the number one guy for LJ Hooker worldwide, he sells lower end homes, doesn't he? Yeah.
Well, that's Robert Matheson. He's a really good example of what we're talking about. Robert doesn't like working above 650,000. They talk a bit funny. They're not really his type of person.
Yeah.
But really, in the world of coaching, one of the things we say in prospecting is identify your tribe. Who would you be best working with that you're interested in, not faking it? I think some people go into an area and go, oh, well, I don't like these people, but they won't pick that up. People aren't stupid. They know if you're connected to their family values and what they do in their area versus, I'm in a suit looking down on you, but I'll sell your home because I earn money.
Yeah.
People aren't stupid. That's an energy feeling people get.
So do you think you can be super successful selling, and Robert Matheson is obviously an example of this, but I see a lot of agents that are selling, especially within our business, they sell $350,000 homes or $450,000 homes, but they just want to get into the upper end because they think it's easier or quicker. Do you think you'd be super successful selling middle range homes or lower end homes?
100%. It's actually a better working ground. When people are attracted to the top end, now don't get me wrong, there's some people that do top end so well, and I take my hat off to them, but they understand that tribe.
Yes.
The rest of the industry thinks if I could go top end, it's like a glorious paddock where I only have to sell one or two and I'll earn big money.
Yeah.
Yet the skill and the real money is in the bread and butter. And learning to work bread and butter markets, you should grow with your price bracket. So like for myself, when I first came into real estate, I was nervous in houses. I was 22 and I thought, they're the same age as my mum and dad, they're not going to listen to me. So I actually copped out a bit and became a specialist in units. And I'd do 1 to 2 bedroom units and I could do 10, 15 a month. But they were my age group. There were people just having children and so forth. And I liked that tribe. But then 3 years later, they were all the owner of a 3-bedroom house. And would say, Lee, you want to put a house on the market? And I think, I sold your unit 3 years ago. And they've had another child and they want to go to another property. So I grew with my tribe, then right up to the top ranks because I was in the area for a 10-year period. They ended up owning $1 million home. But it was my same client. I grew with the tribe.
Yeah, okay.
But I learnt all the mistakes and thrown out of lounge rooms and closed too early. I cut my teeth on those units because I felt safe. And it was the best thing I did because I got my confidence up. So then when I had to go into some of the real properties where all the big principals were listing, I understood the space really well.
So I'm hearing you got to almost create a platform of confidence first in your career and then see where it takes you and see where you feel most comfortable. Whether you stay there or not is really where you resonate with.
Very much so. Yeah. But I think people they want to be on hot topics and I'm at Steinwede in 6 months.
Yeah.
And if you're in this long term, budget your first 3 years for learning.
Yeah.
That's where, and people say, stuff this up. Good. You've got to break a few eggs to make an omelette, make it happen. But mistakes aren't bad. That's how we get experience. But work it out within what you can do right. I'm not saying you do the wrong thing by the consumer, but there's nothing wrong with that learning curve of 3 years. But people want to do it all in 1 year. And I'd rather do it off referrals. I don't really like prospecting.
Yeah.
Both of us still prospect hard today. Yes. Because there's no way around that. And I think if people could just register, you've got to make client information calls. You've got to communicate with your tribe, which is what the other word for prospecting is. You'll always have a career. But it's when people think I can shortchange that and then it all flattens out again and the market's tough. Market's not tough. You've stopped communicating. Yeah. There's a difference.
What would you do today if you started in real estate with all the knowledge that you have? What would you do today?
With the knowledge I have now, there was something I didn't have then that was really important. I didn't understand the difference between a dwellings database and a people database. So I was chasing people non-stop, and for me, I used buyer management. It was the fastest way to make it happen because I was face-to-face, they'd chat with me, they'd invite me back in homes, and I was doing 26 buyer appointments a week. And everyone said, you're an idiot. But I was getting 6 really good sold appraisals out of that where they couldn't pull 2 or 3. So that was my channel, and I think anyone needs a communication channel and a marketplace. But today, I'd be doing what we teach. Get all the dwellings, because the dwellings is the primary record.
So your patch, your core area?
Your patch. Yeah. So let's say, in your example, 1,100 homes, all the dwellings. 1 high street through to 75 high street. That data's not hard to get. The data that's tricky is all the temporary relationships to that dwelling, which is the owner. And if the dwelling's the primary record, the person who owns it's the temporary relationship. They could be there between 3 to 5, 10 years. But that will keep moving. Yeah. But we've got to keep connecting to who now owns 10 High Street. Right. And once you've got that data, and in an area where you are, you've just taken on a new area called Avoca. Yeah. 85% of the owners don't live there.
That's exactly right.
So Mr. and Mrs. Edie, who own 1 at 40 Avoca Drive, actually live in Linfield. So you sending the letter to Linfield versus the mailbox drops, the magnets, the calendars, that's just spray marketing and it's a waste of time. So I would start foundationally on a structural change that I had the owners of every dwelling in the database I want to communicate with, because then I'm right forever. I'm never victim to as the market up or down. I've just got my communication program.
Right, okay. And then would you have like prospecting time? Like in terms of running your day, would you prospect hard? Would you...
I'd have a set day.
Yep.
Patterns to my day and energy.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit like you. I'm good at first thing in the morning. That stuff's going to block me in the day, which is paperwork type stuff. Yeah. Delegating tasks out, things like that. And then at 8:30 to 11:30, it's scheduled task time, no appointments. Yeah. My father, who was a leading car salesperson, used to get in there at 5 o'clock in the morning so that when people were awake to come on the lot, there was no paperwork in his way.
He could just go.
He could do all his paperwork in the morning so that when it's field time, the game's open, yet the other guys would rock in 8:30. By the time they got through their paperwork, 12 o'clock had hit, the field's been hot all day,
Yeah.
but they're not available.
Yeah, right. Why were you number one you were number one for 5 years in the network that you worked in before you started real estate trading?
Yeah, for my area, I won the top salesperson 5 years in a row.
Okay.
And then in the whole network, I won the Diamond Pin Award.
Why were you number one? What do you put that down to?
Hunger. Like I really wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
I had nothing else in my way. When I came at that age, I wasn't married, I didn't have children, I had nothing else to do but sell real estate. And I was so passionate about this chance I was given. I had an awesome principal, a gentleman by the name of Rod Jones, who's retired now. But I was lucky. Rod was a trainer. So I did heaps of training, non-stop, all types of training. I remember once they registers for a group, another training group, and they put our numbers in. It was my first week with the group. And I was number one in the country based on numbers. And I saw this fax come through saying, number one in Australia, Lee Woodward. And that was across all networks. And I thought...
How many offices?
Well, it was a subscribing group, so there'd be about 400 or 500 offices amongst them.
Yeah.
And this elite group of people, I saw my name on this fax and thought, And the was not that I'm good, I'm all right, but they're not that good, meaning the industry.
Yeah.
And I stopped benchmarking myself against what I thought was number ones and just focused on my own numbers.
Right.
And I think people get so obsessed with how many ads have they got, what's this company doing. You've got to focus on your own game. There's no time for anything else. Make sure your 35 vendors are happy. All your buyers who own a property in an area in that postcode have had communication. You've dropped off the just sold information.
Yeah.
There was only time for that. And I think I was very good at blocking out the industry. When I first started in the company, they were amateurs, the people that worked there, and only one of those salespeople survived the new numbers. So where they were doing 2 or 3 deals a month, I took them to 10, 15 deals a month.
Right.
And the other top performer who was also there at my time, he lifted his game as well. But then the new people that came in that 4 or 5 sales a month was normal.
Yeah.
Versus the crew when I got there were just your typical real estate agents.